Welcome to a journey into the frost-covered realms of Norse mythology, where gods thunder across the skies and giants dwell beyond the edges of the world. As night surrounds you, let your mind drift into the swirling mists of Yggdrasil, the world tree, where 9 realms spin in delicate balance. Tonight, you are not merely listening. You are wandering through the halls of Asgard, standing beside mighty warriors, and hearing the whispers of ancient seers. This is a tale of gods and monsters, of destiny and doom, of courage in the face of the inevitable. From the mischievous wit of Loki to the thunderous power of Thor, from the wisdom of Odin to the end of days, Ragnarök, these stories have echoed through the fjords and forests of the north for centuries. As you lay down to rest, breathe deeply, and let the sounds of storm winds and cracking frost guide you. This is your story now, a dream forged in myth and memory. 3 to 8 o'clock, the Norse pantheon, gods of the north. Let us now open the great book of the Aesir and Vanir, the 2 divine families of Norse myth. Here dwell gods not of distant perfection, but of fiery passion, strength, sorrow, and fate. They are powerful and flawed, wise and fallible. At the head of the Aesir stands Odin, the All-Father, a seeker of wisdom who sacrificed his eye for knowledge. He governs war, poetry, and death. By his side is Frigg, the goddess of foresight and love, often silent but ever watchful. Thor, Odin's mighty son, roars through the heavens in his chariot drawn by goats, wielding the enchanted hammer Mjolnir. He is the protector of gods and men, a force of strength and storm. Then comes Loki, the trickster. Neither holy god nor giant, he dances between hero and villain. His charm hides danger, and his wit conceals chaos. He is beloved and feared in equal measure. Balder, the shining god of beauty and peace, lights the heart of Asgard, while his brother Hödur, blind and tragic, becomes the key to Balder's fate. From the Vanir side come gods like Njord, master of the sea, and his children, Freyr, bringer of fertility and peace, and Freya, the goddess of love and battle, ruler of her own hall for fallen warriors. These divine figures inhabit Asgard, the realm of the gods, ever watching over Midgard, the world of humans. But theirs is not a rule of dominance. They fight. They falter. They face destiny. And as we journey deeper, we will meet each of them again, not in silence, but in story. Let us begin with the All-Father himself, Odin. In the heart of Asgard, among halls of gold and skies etched with lightning, lives Thor, the god of thunder, storms, and protection. One of the most powerful and beloved figures in Norse mythology, Thor was not just a warrior. He was a symbol of order against chaos, of might against monsters. Thor, the son of Odin and the earth goddess Jord, wielded the mighty hammer Mjolnir, a weapon so powerful it could level mountains and always return to its master's hand. But Thor's role was more than just that of a divine enforcer. He was the protector of both gods and men, traveling across the realms to combat the threats that emerged from the outer edges of existence. The people of ancient Scandinavia looked to Thor with reverence. His hammer was etched into amulets and stones, a sacred image that shielded homes from harm and invoked courage in battle. When thunderstorms rolled across the sky, they believed it was Thor riding his chariot, pulled by 2 enormous goats, Tangrisnir and Tangjostr, as he hurled lightning toward giants and evil spirits. But even gods face trials. One of Thor's most famous adventures was his journey to the land of the giants, Jotunheim, a place where nature reigned wild and ancient forces threatened the order of the cosmos. Accompanied by Loki and others, Thor ventured far to prove his strength. In the great hall of the giant king Loki, Thor was challenged in strange and deceptive ways. He was asked to lift a cat, but the cat was no ordinary feline. It was the Midgard serpent in disguise. He was asked to drink from a horn connected to the sea itself, and though he could not empty it, his effort caused the tides to shift. These illusions were meant to humiliate him, yet they only proved how fearsome his power truly was. Thor's character was not only about raw strength, it was about persistence, bravery, and the refusal to yield, even when the odds seemed impossible. He was both a warrior and a guardian, fiercely loyal to Asgard, to his father Odin, and to the fate of the 9 realms. But his destiny, like that of all gods, was tied to a greater doom, the final battle known as Ragnarök. In the shimmering halls of Asgard, among gods of might and wisdom, there moved another figure, less revered, more feared, and infinitely harder to understand. Loki, the trickster god, the shapeshifter, the fire-born son of chaos. Loki was not Aesir by blood. He was born of giants, the very beings the gods so often fought against, yet through his wit and charm, he became Odin's blood brother and walked freely among the gods. But his presence always came with a price. Loki was brilliant, cunning, and endlessly unpredictable. He could transform into a bird, a fish, even a mare, and once, according to legend, he gave birth to an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir. His mind worked like fire, fast, dazzling, and dangerous to touch. He could solve a crisis in a flash of insight, and cause a greater one moments later. While Thor brought thunder, Loki brought tension. Where Thor defended order, Loki stirred the waters of fate. He would mock the gods, challenge their pride, and expose their flaws, yet time and again, he also saved them from disaster. In one tale, when the gods lost their most treasured possessions, Thor's hammer, Freya's necklace, and Odin's spear, it was Loki who traveled to the realm of dwarves, tricking and bargaining until he returned with magical replacements. But in another, it was Loki who caused the trouble in the first place. His greatest contradiction lay in his love for mischief and his closeness to those he would eventually betray. Among Loki's children were beings of immense danger: Fenrir, the giant wolf destined to kill Odin; Jormungandr, the world serpent who would one day battle Thor; and Hel, the goddess of death. These were not ordinary children. They were omens, living prophecies of the end to come. The gods, sensing this, tried to contain the threat. They bound Fenrir in chains, cast Jormungandr into the sea, and sent Hel to rule the underworld. Loki watched this with a smile, but inside him, something twisted, a seed of resentment that would one day ignite. That day would come during Ragnarök, the doom of the gods, when Loki would turn against Asgard, leading the armies of chaos and his monstrous children into the final battle. But before that, there were many years of games, of laughter, of uneasy alliances. Loki was not evil, at least, not in the way mortals understand it. He was necessary. He was change. In the great mythic cycle, he played the role of the shadow, the reminder that nothing stays still, and even among gods, nothing lasts forever. Loki teaches us that light cannot exist without shadow, that creation needs destruction, that stories need tension and endings. Let us now turn to the prophecy that binds them all, the vision of the world's end. Ragnarök. Deep in the heart of Norse mythology lies a chilling prophecy, a vision of fire and frost, of gods and monsters locked in their final, fatal dance. Ragnarök, the twilight of the gods. But Ragnarök is not merely an end. It is a beginning wrapped in destruction. It is the Norse vision of cosmic renewal, terrifying, majestic, and strangely beautiful. The prophecy begins with signs. First, the world will fall into chaos. Brothers will fight and kill each other. Bonds of family and kinship will break. The great tree Yggdrasil will tremble. 3 long, harsh winters, Fimbulwinter, will grip the world without summer in between. Crops will fail, nations will fall, and mankind will lose its way. Then, the sky will split. From the east, giants will march, led by Surtur, the fire giant of Muspelheim, his sword blazing with the heat of a sun. From the sea, Jormungandr, the world serpent, will rise, poisoning the waters and lashing his massive coils across the land. Fenrir, the wolf, will break free of his enchanted chains, jaws stretched wide enough to swallow the sky itself. His fiery eyes will be fixed on Odin, and leading the forces of chaos, Loki. Now unbound, he will sail to the battlefield on a ship made from the nails of the dead, bringing with him the army of hell. The gods will gather at the field of Yggdrasil, knowing full well they are doomed. But still, they will fight. Odin, the All-Father, will face Fenrir. He will fall, devoured by the beast, but not before he strikes with wisdom and will. Thor, mighty and thunderous, will battle Jormungandr. He will slay the serpent, but take 9 steps before collapsing, his veins full of venom. Freyr will face Surtur, god against flame, and fall beneath his fiery sword. Tyr will face the hound Garmr at the gates of hell. Heimdall and Loki will destroy each other in single combat. Then Surtur will raise his sword high and set the world ablaze. The sun will darken, the stars will vanish, and the seas will rise. But even in this desolation, there is hope. Out of the ashes, a new world will emerge, green and fertile. 2 humans, Lif and Lifthrasir, will survive by hiding in a sacred grove. They will give birth to a new generation. Some gods, like Baldur, the beloved, once lost to death, will return to rule in peace. The cycle begins anew. In the Norse vision, destruction is not the end, it is transformation. Just as winter gives way to spring, so too must the old world burn for the new to rise. Ragnarök is a mirror of the human soul, our fears of death, our yearning for justice, our belief in rebirth. Even after the storm of Ragnarök, after the sun has blackened and the oceans have swallowed the land, Norse mythology offers a quiet, sacred whisper of hope. Not all is lost. From the smoldering remains of the 9 realms, a new dawn will rise, and with it, new life, new gods, and the gentle return of harmony to a world long torn by chaos. Among the most powerful symbols of this rebirth is the return of Baldur, the shining god of light, beauty, and love. Once slain by the trickery of Loki, pierced by a dart of mistletoe in a cruel game, Baldur had descended into hell. His death was mourned by all things in creation, and the gods had tried in vain to bring him back. Only one creature refused to weep, sealing his fate. But after Ragnarök, Baldur emerges from the shadows. He returns to the world of the living, not with vengeance, but with peace. With him comes Hr, his blind brother, who had unwittingly been used as the weapon in Baldur's death. Now reunited, Baldur and Hr dwell together in a place called Breidablik, a heavenly hall untouched by evil, a shining sanctuary in the renewed world. Their presence is a testament to forgiveness, reconciliation, and the restoration of divine order. They are not the only ones who survive. Vidar, the silent god of vengeance, who tore Fenrir apart in honor of his father Odin, endures. So does Vali, the son of Odin who was born to avenge Baldur. His duty now fulfilled, he remains to help build a better world. And there are humans, too. In a secret grove called Hodmimus Holt, two humans, Lif and Lifthraiser, have taken shelter from the fires and floods of Ragnarök. There, hidden among the roots of the world tree Yggdrasil, they drink the morning dew and survive the cataclysm. From their union, a new race of humans will be born, innocent, unburdened by the sins of their ancestors. The world itself will renew. The land will rise again from the ocean. The sun, once consumed by the wolf skull, will be reborn, her daughter taking her place in the sky, shining over a cleansed and fertile earth. Mountains will reform, rivers will flow, crops will grow without labor. Peace will reign, at least for a time. This vision of renewal is a powerful conclusion to the Norse mythic cycle. While Ragnarök is filled with doom and death, it ends not in finality, but in rebirth. Just as day follows night, and spring follows winter, life follows destruction. In this vision, we are reminded that no darkness is eternal, and even in our lowest moments, a new beginning may already be waiting. Before Ragnarök, before Thor's hammer struck the skies and before Loki's chaos unraveled the world, there was another war. A war not between giants and gods, but among the gods themselves. In the earliest days of Norse myth, the cosmos was shaped not only by the mighty Aesir, Odin, Thor, Frigg, but also by a second tribe of deities, the Vanir. The Aesir ruled from Asgard, proud, warlike, and order-driven. They built halls, rode into battle, and forged fate with blades and iron. The Vanir, in contrast, were the gods of fertility, nature, prosperity, and magic. They dwelled in Vanaheim, a realm more peaceful and mysterious, closely tied to the earth and cycles of growth. But peace between the two pantheons did not come easily. According to legend, the war began when the Vanir sent a powerful seeress named Gullveig to Asgard. Her beauty and magical abilities, particularly her skill in seer, a form of Norse sorcery, fascinated and disturbed the Aesir. They tried to kill her 3 times, burning her body to ash. But each time, she returned, untouched by death. This act of violence was a declaration of war. The Vanir, enraged by the Aesir's betrayal, struck back. What followed was a great divine war, the details of which have been mostly lost in time. But we know it was long, brutal, and devastating. Neither side could win. Finally, exhausted and wise, the Aesir and Vanir agreed to a truce. To seal the peace, they exchanged hostages. The Vanir sent the brother-sister duo Njrr and Freyr, both gods of fertility and the sea, to live among the Aesir. In return, the Aesir sent a god named Honor and the wise Mimir to the Vanir. But when the Vanir suspected they had been tricked, that Honor was a figurehead and Mimir alone held wisdom, they beheaded Mimir and returned his head to Odin. Despite this grim gesture, the peace held. Njrr and his children, Freyr and Freya, were welcomed among the Aesir and became some of the most beloved deities in the Norse pantheon. Freyr became associated with kingship and bountiful harvests, Freya with love, beauty, war, and magic. Their presence transformed Asgard. Through Freya, the Aesir learned the secrets of Seer, the magical practice that Odin himself would later master. The Aesir became not only warriors but magicians, seers, and fate-benders. This union of opposites, of war and peace, male and female, order and wildness, became central to Norse cosmology. The balance between Aesir and Vanir symbolized the balance required in all things, between destruction and creation, control and surrender, chaos and harmony. And it wasn't just about gods. This divine war echoed among mortals as well, reflecting the fusion of tribes and beliefs across ancient Scandinavia. The stories of Aesir and Vanir may have arisen from real historical unions, of migrating peoples, their gods and myths intertwining. Even the world tree Yggdrasil, with its branches reaching all realms, reflects this duality. Beneath it lies a web of connection, not just division. Life and death, earth and sky, fire and ice, all held in tension. Through their conflict and resolution, the Aesir and Vanir forged the cosmos we've inherited in myth, a world where no force is absolute, and even gods must learn from each other. Their truce teaches us that wisdom often comes not from domination, but from understanding. In the heart of Norse mythology stands a tree, not just any tree, but the world tree, known as Yggdrasil. Vast and eternal, Yggdrasil connects all things. Its roots stretch deep into hidden realms, and its branches cradle the heavens. It is not only the structure of the universe, it is the universe. According to ancient Norse belief, the cosmos was not a flat earth or a spinning globe, but a multi-layered world of 9 distinct realms, each with its own laws, inhabitants, and atmosphere. These realms were woven together through the living branches and roots of Yggdrasil. Let us journey now through these 9 realms, each a part of the great cosmic tree. 1. Asgard. At the highest branches of Yggdrasil sits Asgard, the realm of the Aesir gods, Odin, Thor, Frigg, Balder, and others. A golden city with mighty halls and rainbow bridges, Asgard is home to Valhalla, the hall where brave warriors go after death, chosen by the Valkyries. It is a realm of power, war, and honor. 2. Vanaheim. This is the home of the Vanir, the gods of fertility, wisdom, and magic. Vanaheim is lush, fertile, and peaceful, a realm of rivers, forests, and timeless harmony. While less is known about its details, it symbolizes the more natural, mystical side of divinity. 3. Alfheim. The shining realm of the light elves, beings of beauty and light. Ruled by the god Freyr, Alfheim is a realm of ethereal grace. The light elves are not human nor divine, but something in between, dwelling in a plane of light and elegance. 4. Midgard. The realm of humankind. Midgard, or Middle Earth, is where we live. It is surrounded by a vast ocean and connected to Asgard by the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge. Midgard is the battleground of fate, where men and women struggle with mortality and meaning. 5. Jotunheim. To the east lies Jotunheim, land of the giants, or Jotnar. These beings are ancient, primal forces of chaos and nature. Sometimes enemies, sometimes lovers of the gods, the giants represent what lies beyond civilization, the untamed, the wild, the mysterious. Loki, though a god, was born among them. 6. Svartalfheim, or Nidavellir. Deep underground is the home of the dwarves, master blacksmiths and crafters of the gods' most powerful items, like Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. This dark, rocky realm echoes with hammer blows and glowing forges. The dwarves are small in stature, but their skills shape the fate of gods and men alike. 7. Helheim. Ruled by Hel, daughter of Loki, this cold and shadowy realm is where those who die of old age or illness go. Unlike Valhalla, there is no glory here, just stillness and memory. It is not a place of torture, but rather one of silence, where souls rest under the care of a somber queen. 8. Niflheim. One of the two primordial realms, Niflheim is a land of ice, mist, and fog. It is home to the frozen rivers of Olivigar and the ancient well of Fergelmir, from which all waters flow. Niflheim is cold, lifeless, the cosmic counter to fire and heat. 9. Muspelheim. The opposite of Niflheim. Muspelheim is a realm of fire, lava, and eternal flame, ruled by the fire giant Surtur, who wields a flaming sword. In the myth of Ragnarök, Surtur plays a key role, setting the world ablaze in the final destruction. These 9 realms are not merely separate places, they are states of being. They represent forces that govern the Norse universe: war and peace, light and darkness, order and chaos, life and death. And binding them all is Yggdrasil. The tree is said to have 3 main roots, each reaching into a different realm: one into Asgard, one into Jotunheim, and one into Niflheim. Beneath each root lies a sacred well: Jörubrunn, the well of fate; Mimisbrunn, the well of wisdom; and Fergelmir, the well of origin. Each day, the Norns, the weavers of fate, draw water from these wells to nourish Yggdrasil, ensuring the balance of the cosmos. Creatures dwell upon and around the tree: a mighty eagle in the branches, a serpent named Nhggr gnawing at the roots, and a squirrel, Ratatoskr, running back and forth, carrying messages and insults between them. These stories are not random. They reflect a deep understanding of balance, interconnectedness, and the cyclical nature of existence. As you drift further into sleep, imagine this tree, stretching across space and time, holding together the past and future. Each realm humming with ancient energy, each branch telling a tale, each root whispering of beginnings and endings. As we climb deeper into the branches of Norse myth, one figure looms above all others: Odin, the All-Father. He is not a god of simple strength or thunder like Thor, nor a god of love or beauty. Odin is the god of paradoxes, of war and poetry, death and inspiration, kings and outcasts, silence and revelation. He is a wanderer cloaked in riddles, a one-eyed seeker of knowledge, and the mysterious heart of the Norse cosmos. Odin's appearance and character. Often portrayed as an old man with a long beard, a wide-brimmed hat, and a dark cloak, Odin travels the worlds as a wanderer, far from the golden halls of Asgard. He is accompanied by his 2 ravens, Hugin and Munin, Thought and Memory, who fly across the 9 realms each day, bringing him news of all things. He also rides an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir, said to be the fastest and most powerful steed in all creation, born of Loki and a giant stallion. But Odin is not just a god of observation. He is a seeker, constantly striving to understand the fabric of the universe, the fate of the gods, and the secrets of the runes. The sacrifice for wisdom. One of the most powerful and haunting myths in all of Norse tradition tells how Odin sacrificed himself to gain knowledge of the runes, the sacred symbols of magic, fate, and writing. Odin hung himself from Yggdrasil, pierced by his own spear, and remained there for 9 days and 9 nights without food or drink. In darkness and pain, he gazed into the abyss, and finally, the runes revealed themselves. Not as gifts, but as secrets pulled from suffering. From this act, Odin became the master of runes, and in turn, the god of magic, poetry, and the spoken word. This self-sacrifice is profound, a god willing to die to know more. It tells us that wisdom does not come freely. It must be earned through endurance, courage, and the willingness to face what others fear. The Well of Mimir. But Odin's quest didn't stop with the runes. Another tale tells of Mimir, the guardian of a sacred well of wisdom at the root of Yggdrasil. To drink from its waters, Odin paid a terrible price. He gave up his eye. He plucked it out and dropped it into the well, in exchange for the vision to see beyond sight, into fate, truth, and time itself. So Odin walks with one eye, but sees more than any other. His sacrifice was not just physical, but symbolic, letting go of what is obvious to understand what is hidden. God of the fallen. Odin is also the god of the slain. In times of battle, he chooses warriors to be taken to Valhalla, his hall in Asgard. There, the honored dead, called the Einherjar, train for the final battle of Ragnarök. But Odin is not a warmonger. He understands that all things must end. He gathers warriors not to conquer, but to prepare for the day the cosmos falls. His relationship with death is complex. He walks between worlds, and some traditions even hint that he was a god of the dead before he was a king of the gods. Poetry, magic, and prophecy. Odin is also credited with bringing poetry to gods and men. The myth of the mead of poetry tells how he tricked the giants to steal a magical drink that grants the gift of verse, inspiration, and eloquence. Drinking the mead, Odin gained the power of speech that stirs the soul, the gift of poets, skalds, and seers. His connection to cedar, a form of Norse magic involving prophecy and weaving fate, also reveals a side of Odin that breaks traditional roles. Cedar was usually practiced by women, but Odin, ever the seeker, crossed boundaries to learn its secrets. In this way, Odin defied convention. He was not afraid to appear strange, mad, or feminine in pursuit of knowledge. He wore many masks, and through them he saw truth. The enigma of Odin. Unlike many mythological figures, Odin remains a mystery. He is not purely good or evil. He is not always kind or just. He deceives, he inspires, he sacrifices. He is a storm and a whisper, a riddle, never fully solved. Some worshipped him in hopes of protection in war. Others feared his presence in dreams, a sign of death to come. He was both welcomed and dreaded. But all agreed, he knows. As you lie back now, let the wind of the world tree carry you through the stories. Imagine the All-Father walking beneath stars, whispering truths to ravens, sipping mead by firelight, watching the threads of fate unwind. Odin teaches us that the deepest truths are not given, they are earned. That wisdom costs, but its price is worth paying. As the fires of myth grow dim and the twilight deepens, we come to the final and most dramatic prophecy in all of Norse mythology, Ragnarök, the end of the world. But this is not an apocalypse in the modern sense. It is not a simple destruction, nor is it without meaning. Ragnarök is both an ending and a beginning, a cosmic cycle reaching its peak before resetting anew. This tale is one of destiny, heroism, sorrow, and hope, all written in the stars and whispered in the roots of Yggdrasil. The prophecy unfolds. The first signs of Ragnarök are subtle. The world begins to unravel not with fire, but with frost. The Fimbulwinter comes, 3 long winters with no summers between. Snow covers the earth. The sun disappears. Brothers fight and betray one another. Morality collapses. Families fall apart. It is an age of wolves. Then, the great chain of fate loosens. From the depths of hell, the dead stir. In the sea, the monstrous serpent Jormungandr writhes. In the heart of Muspelheim, Surtr, the fire giant, awakens, sword in hand, flames in his wake. And far to the north, the wolf Fenrir, once bound by the gods, breaks free from his enchanted chains. His jaws stretch to the heavens and earth, and he begins to run. The gods know what comes next. They gather their forces. Valhalla opens its doors. The Einherjar, the honored dead, take up arms. Odin, knowing his own death is near, rides to war, not to win, but to fulfill the prophecy. The final battle. The battlefield is Vigrid, a plain vast enough to hold gods, giants, monsters, and men. On one side stand the Aesir, Odin, Thor, Freyr, Tyr, Heimdall, and the warriors of Valhalla. On the other, the forces of chaos, giants, the undead, monstrous beasts, and the traitor god Loki, returned from the underworld. Each warrior faces a fated opponent. Odin confronts Fenrir, the wolf he once tried to contain. Despite his might and wisdom, Odin falls, swallowed whole by the beast. Thor battles Jormungandr, the world serpent. He slays the creature with Mjolnir, but takes only 9 steps before succumbing to its venom. Freyr, god of fertility and peace, duels Surtr, but without his sacred sword, he is slain. Heimdall and Loki, 2 guardians of opposing destinies, kill each other in a final blow. And so the gods fall. The sky cracks. The world burns. Surtr raises his flaming sword and sets the world ablaze. The seas rise. Mountains collapse. The earth sinks into the ocean. The universe as we know it ends. But all is not lost. From the ashes, silence falls. And then, a rebirth. In the surviving fragments of the myth, we are told that a new world rises from the sea. Green, fertile, pure. The sun, once swallowed by a wolf, is reborn through her daughter, a new light for a new age. 2 human survivors, Lif and Lifthrazor, emerge from the forest of Hodmimis Holt. They will repopulate the world. And some gods return. Baldur, the beloved god of light who died before Ragnarök, comes back from hell. A sign that goodness may yet triumph over death. Ragnarök, then, is not just a cataclysm, it is a cosmic renewal. A chance to begin again. A reminder that even in the darkest hour, hope is reborn. Meaning beyond the myth. What does Ragnarök mean for us? It is a myth of cycles, of endings that give birth to beginnings. It reminds us that nothing is eternal, not even gods, and that wisdom lies in accepting impermanence. The Norse knew the world was fragile. They faced cold, storms, and war. Ragnarök mirrored their understanding that life is a struggle, but also a story, with heroes, sacrifice, and meaning. The tale teaches that courage is not in victory, but in standing firm even when defeat is certain. That we must face our fate, not run from it. In the end, the story of Ragnarök is not about despair. It is about transformation. The end of one world, and the beginning of another. As the fires of Ragnarök fade and the new world emerges, we return not to gods or giants, but to ourselves, to the present day, where the echoes of Norse mythology continue to shape how we think, imagine, and dream. Norse mythology is not merely a collection of ancient tales. It is a worldview, a poetic map of the cosmos, rich with symbolism and emotional depth. And although its original worshippers are long gone, their stories endure, in books, films, art, philosophy, and even personal beliefs. Across the world, the names of Norse gods live on. Thor and Loki are household names today, not only because of modern movies, but because their stories reflect universal truths: strength and responsibility, mischief and redemption. Odin inspires those who seek wisdom through sacrifice. Freya, Tyr, Baldur, Hel, each god embodies archetypes still relevant in today's human psyche. Beyond popular culture, Norse mythology plays a profound role in literature and philosophy. Writers like J.R.R. Tolkien drew heavily from its structure and spirit when creating Middle-earth. Carl Jung, the famed psychologist, saw myths as expressions of the collective unconscious, and the Norse pantheon is rich with archetypal meaning. In Scandinavia and parts of Europe, ancient runes are studied not just for language, but for insight into the mythic soul of a people. Folk traditions echo the rhythms of old stories. Pagan revivals and neo-pagan paths often look to the Norse gods as sources of inner strength and cosmic balance. And perhaps most importantly, these myths continue to offer meaning. In an uncertain world, stories like Ragnarök remind us that even the mightiest fall, but that renewal is always possible. That courage lies not in escape, but in facing one's fate. That light can return after darkness. So as you lie here now, breathing softly, drifting toward dreams, know that these myths live in you too. In your longing for justice like Tyr, your desire to protect like Thor, your quest for knowledge like Odin, your playfulness like Loki, and your quiet hope for peace and rebirth, like those who survive Ragnarök. You carry the fire of the old stories, and with every dream, every step, every whisper of your soul, you help them live on. Thank you for joining this journey through the myths of the North. Sleep well, and let the songs of ancient gods guard your night.